Betsy. So I thought I'd come on today and start a new series. Now this one I'm going to go through all my collection. There was a lot to get through, so I'm going to try and put them in sections of different kind of areas that I have decks in. It'll be a mix of tarot and oracles and what have you. I won't sort of keep them separate. I'll do them all as one. So the first one that I'm going to start off with today is my collection of Mideast. It's sort of like the Eastern philosophy, you know, the philosophies and whatever you like, Buddhism and Hinduism and all that kind of thing, or from that area, Japan, China, India, you know, that kind. So sort of that's kind of section. So I thought I'd start with those. And like I said, there's quite a few, so I won't show all of them. I'm sure that on most of them there's going to be walkthroughs. If there isn't, if I know that I haven't done a walkthrough of them, then I'll show you some, you know, a few more of the cards. But yeah, I've seen a few people do this, and I thought it was a good idea to get my collection, you know, sort of recorded for my own purposes, as well as to share, to show you what kind of decks I have in my collection. So like I said, it will be a mixture. Now the first one I'm going to start with, I haven't even used. I bought this a few months ago. So there's two of them really that will show you first. Now I'm interested, I'm a healer as well, I'm a Reiki healer, so I'm interested in the healing system, and the chakras is something that interests me, and now this has been sort of Hinduism, that kind of thing, but it's also been linked with Buddhism. So I have, and I've done a walkthrough on this one, I've done readings with this one, the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Now, I actually do really like this oracle. I get some lovely readings off it. It comes in one of these boxes. It does some lovely readings, and it's by Tori Hartman. I'm not a great fan of a lot of the imagery. I'm not a huge fan of some of the imagery, but it, you know, it doesn't bother me, and I do like to use this. And like I said, I usually use it just for myself, but I do find that this gives me some lovely readings. That's the backs if you haven't seen it, but there should be a walkthrough of this on my thingy, or if there isn't and you're interested, I'll show you. So I bought that one first, and like I said, I really enjoyed it. So then I went ahead and she bought a tarot out, Chakra Wisdom Tarot, by the same author, Toni Hartman. So it's this one, and I went ahead and bought it. Again, it comes in this flip box, and you get a good book with it. I'm not going to show you all of them, so I'm sure there's a walkthrough. There's the backs, but I don't know. I've not even tried to use this one. I've not even tried. I really should try this, because if I don't like it, I can pass it on. But the cards are sort of colour coordinated with the chakra associated with that particular card. That's why you've got different colour borders. Maybe I should leave these out and try them, because I don't want to write them off without even trying them. But yeah, so it's not something that I've worked with. It's something I spent money on and I was looking forward to getting. So maybe I should give it a try. So I've got that one, the Chakra Wisdom Tarot. So like I said, that is something I really should try. There's no point in buying decks and then not even trying them, is there? So that's the first two. So the next one that I'm going to include in this, for the simple reason is that it is the Mystical Manga Tarot. Now you may be thinking, well, what's that got to do with, you know, but it is a, you know, the manga cartoon, and the that's a good book, is the anime is from, like, Japanese. It is a Japanese anime. Now I have got a full walkthrough of this, and I have used this on, you know, quite a bit, so I'm not going to show you all of it. But so I included it because I thought, well, you know, it is that from that area. It is the, you know, the manga cartoons and the anime is a Japanese based you know, cartoon and what have you. And this is by somebody called Ran, I think. Yeah, Ran. And it's a lovely tarot, and I do enjoy using this, but I don't use it as much as I do a lot of my other ones. But yeah, so there is a walkthrough, I believe, of this one, and I do like it. But that is, included in this because of the area that it kind of started off, you know, the anime, the cartoon. So the next one is the Osho Zen. The Osho Zen Tarot. Excuse me. I bought this a long time ago. A couple of years ago, I should say, this one. Again, I'm not going to go through all of it because I'm sure you've all seen the Osho Zen. You get a lovely book with this nice thick book with the Osho Zen. I used to use it all the time. There's the back. I used to use it all the time. The artwork on here reminds me very much of the artwork on the Chakra Wisdom Oracle, actually. Yeah, I used to use this quite a lot, but then, and I used to use this intuitively rather than, you know, the card meanings. And you do get a keyword on them. But again, this is another one that I got put away and never brought it out really that much, and I really should. So this is a good way for me to go through my decks, to kind of leave out some ones that I want to work with but I haven't worked with for a while, and to change things around, because I've got two different sections where I keep my cards. One's in the living room underneath my altar, and the other one's in the hallway on my stairs. I've got a big bookcase on there, and I put them in there. And I tend to go for the ones underneath my altar. So I need to have a bit of a switch around. And this is an ideal way for me to kind of get back in touch with some of the decks that I haven't used for a while and kind of swap them around. So that's the Osho Zen Tarot. So the next one that I'm going to show you is this deck here. It's an oracle deck. It's the Buddha Wisdom Shakti Power cards, introducing and greeting to permanent impertinence, by Laura Santi. Now this is a US Games, and I've never used it. I never used it as a book to get it. I bought this a few months back. There's your backs. Never used it. Don't know why I've never used it. Maybe because I can't pronounce a lot of the names. But maybe this is one I should leave out. See, I've got all these decks and I don't use half of them. I really shouldn't either do something about it or clear some of them out. So leaving only the ones that I leave. But I use, oh no, I'm dropped one. But yeah, so that's the kind of images you get on this. And like I said, I've never used it. I bet it's all in order still if I look. Because, mind you, I might have shuffled and pulled one. But yeah, that's the Buddha Wisdom. And it's a nice little deck. I've just never used it, and I really should either use it or move it on because my collection's getting too big now. So the next one I want to show you is this one, and again, this is the Foxfire, the Kitsune Oracle, and I love this when I bought it. Lucy Cavendish. There's the backs, this front. I'm sure I've done more for this one, so I'm not going to show you too much. I really enjoyed this when I got it. Then it got put away and I don't use it. It's another one I just don't use. And it's a shame because it's a lovely deck, but again, like I said, use it or move it on. That's my thing that I'm going to have to do because I'm just getting too many. And this is a good way, like I said, for me to kind of go through and sort of say, do you know what, you don't use that, move it on. Another one that I do use this one, and I use it quite a lot, is the Wisdom of the Golden Path. This is by Tony Carmine Salerno and Yui Tang. There's the backs. Got to walk through this one, I'm sure. And I've used this quite a lot as well because I absolutely love this oracle. It's one of my all-time favourite oracles, this one. I really do enjoy working with this. Oh, there we go. Not showing too many, but yeah. So I really, really like that, and I know that's one that I shall carry on using, so that won't get moved on. But I really enjoyed working with that. Another oracle that I should either use or move on is this one. I've had this a couple of years, Whispers of Lord Ganesha. Never use it. Very rarely do I use this. There we go. And I know loads of people who love this, absolutely love this, and this is their favourite. I know lots of people who do, but for some reason it's just never really resonated with me. And as much as I like it, again, this is going to have to be one of them, use it or lose it, move it on, because like I said, it's not something that I even think about pulling. It sits on my shelf and it stays on my shelf. The cards are near enough in brand new condition because I just don't use it. So again, that's got to be used or moved on, and the chances are it'll be moved on. And again with this one, Chinese fortune telling cards, reading cards by Sharina Starr. You get your book and you get the backs, and you've got forgiveness, money, paradise. Cardstock's a bit flimsy on these. Challenges, karma, celebrations. Now, the thing with this deck is, when I use this on my groups on Facebook, so I've had groups on Facebook for years on and off, they tend to love these. I think it's because they're fortune telling cards and classed as fortune telling cards, and they do like it, but I don't particularly use it. I can't remember the last time I used it. You do get a good book, like with the challenges, you do get a general message if it's to do with careers, finances, relationships, and then the feng shui tip at the end. So you do get quite a bit with these, but I just never use it, not really. But yeah, so it's the Chinese fortune reading cards, that one. So that's another one that I have, which is also the same as the Buddhism reading cards. Sofan Chan. You get a good book with this. Oh, trying to get them out. I've only really used these to do readings for myself. There we go. These are the kind of images that you get. And you have the writing on the back, so that, you know, you don't really get, you get your message on the back, like, look here. This one is self-acceptance. To be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. Once you accept that who you are, you don't have to struggle to be someone you are not. You are truly free to fully explore the talents and special gifts that you were born with. Use these special gifts and skills in service of other people and the world. Your purpose in life can only be flourished by your self-acceptance. So that is the kind of things. Now there is a system to this deck to get like full reading, and the cards do come in. Let's just put them there. The book does go into explaining it quite a bit, and you do get some spreads and how to use them and what have you, but in the introduction. But it comes in, remember to find it. You get truth cards, purity cards, contemplation cards, cultivation cards in there, and it does explain fully how you can use it. It's about some of the cards in the First Noble Eightfold Path, letting go the Third Noble Truth. The Second Noble Truth is attachment. So it goes through the all the Buddhist, you know, beliefs, the Eightfold Path. Excuse me, I'm coughing well this morning. I've got a dry cough. So yeah, but you need to really study the book to kind of use the cards. But it's an interesting concept, and I have been through and done a full reading that they do show you on. I think I got it on YouTube off Sofan Chan's actual thing, and it's very interesting, but it's not something that I use. So that's the Buddhism reading cards. Now, the one that I do use a lot and I do love is the Tao Oracle. I absolutely love this, and this is one of my, now I've got a walkthrough of this because this has been in my favourites oracles, and continues to be one of my favourite oracles. It's a bit stiff to get off. And it comes with this huge, Mad Diva Padma comes with this huge book. See that? Huge book. And it's based on the I Ching. And you can use this like an I Ching. I don't use it that way. Full instructions and full knowledge on how to use it, the I Ching. I don't tend to use it that way. I use it as an oracle, but I do take in the symbols, the I Ching. This is the I Ching symbols here, and this is like the symbols of the I Ching, if you like. So like we've got, you know, different symbols on different cards. See what I mean? Like different symbols on each card, and like, see, so they're all different symbols because the I Chings have got, you know, they've got symbols. It's all explained in the book and it's really interesting, but it's not something, but I do take notes of the symbols. I do take some when I give the reading, because it's sort of all the nature's elements. So it could be like wind over water and things like that. So you can kind of get a bit more into the reading. It's very hard to describe without doing a full in-depth explanation of the oracle, without going, you know, because it's very in-depth. But so I just tend to use it as, some of these you can't see, I get so much from these images, and the keywords are at the bottom. So you get like resoluteness, determination, no compromises, unwavering focus, inner resolve, integrity, a test of character, self-examination. So you do get an awful lot on one card, and I just read them intuitively. I don't even go to the book. I just read these with the keywords and intuitively. But this has to be one of my favourite decks, but it's very in-depth if you want to use them properly how they was intended, using the I Ching and the elements and what have you. And like I said, I tend to get great results just reading them as an oracle. So I did try with the I Ching when I first got them. It's interesting, but I found that I was getting just as good a readings without using that. So I don't want to do up, so I'll have to do that up in a minute. Nearly there, nearly there. So then the next one that I want to show you is the Wisdom of the Tao. Now this is it's an oracle again, and it's by Mei-Jing Liu. Now I paid nearly £30, I think, for this a couple of years ago, and the book went like that straight away. So annoying, you know, paid all that money, and so the book just kind of snapped. But it's a great little book, a lot of information in this book, and it comes in the flip box. The cardstock is rubbish, very bendy. So it's 45 cards, and I don't know who actually is the publisher of these, but it's rubbish. To publish China Books, that's what it says. But yeah, Mei-Jing Liu, whatever he is, a 25th generation ordained spiritual teacher and an adjunct professor of Taoism and Eastern philosophies. And the cards themselves are gorgeous, and you get a great little message on the bottom. And I love this deck. It's just such a shame about the quality of this cardstock, because it is rubbish. It's paper thin, and like I said, this wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap at all. Like this one, contentment. There is no need to exert yourself on unnecessary efforts. Let things happen naturally. Be detached and everything will be okay. Your modesty is reflected in the Taoism teaching. Taoist teaching, soft is strong. So you kind of get like, but Taoism is something that interests me. So that is the kind of message you get, and the book goes more in depth. And it is a deck that I'll use only for myself, but like I said, the quality is rubbish. I was really disappointed in the quality of the cardstock and even the book. Like I said, you know, on using it a couple of times, it just split down the middle. So very disappointed, but that is one that I do like to use for myself. Now the last two, we have the Kuan Yin Oracle. This is just the mini version. Kuan Yin is somebody that I like to read about. I'm interested in. So yeah, this is just a little mini oracle. This is, you don't get a book with this, you just get the writing on the back. Oh, dropped down, fell in my shoes. So it's just different images of Kuan Yin on each of the cards, and then on the back you just get a little message on the back like that. Again, that is just one I'll use for myself, but it's a nice little deck, pretty little deck. So that is that. And then the last one is This one, it's the Living Reiki. Now, I know I haven't got a walk through this, but these are healing cards, and it's by Penelope Quest. As I've said, I am a Reiki practitioner, and the cards are all to do with the Reiki philosophy and the way of life of Reiki, like, you know. So each card has reached like a short message, like a message of the day sort of thing. Again, this is one I just use for myself, and then you get a little message on the back, depending on what card you pull. Like, honour yourself, and then on the back, you need to respect whatever job we have chosen for ourselves, and to honour ourselves by doing the best to create a feeling of satisfaction in that work or work that is valuable, and to the extent we can choose it to value it, remember that you are your life's work. And it's just little messages like that. But yeah, so they're all of the decks that I have in that kind of section. Like I said, some of them I use a lot, but then it's normally just for myself, and some of them I don't use at all, need to move them on, or at least try to work with and then move them on, because my collection is getting so big and I don't use half of them. So there'll probably be some what comes up to be available. I'll probably even, you know, as I go through my decks, put aside the ones that I need to kind of move on. But yeah, so that's my first video on my collection, a mixture of tarot and oracles, and these ones have all been to sort of that kind of area, Japan, China, India, that kind of philosophy, Buddhism and all that kind of thing, that I just wanted to keep them segmented into different sections. So there you go. So that is my part 1, and I will speak to you all soon, and probably do part 2 next week or something. But thanks for watching. Bye for now.